What's up, guys? Welcome back to Malt Mondays. This week, we're taking a look at a brand new release from Glenmorangie, the X.
In Scotland, would you accidentally drive up to Talisker?
So the Glenmorangie X is a little bit of a weird product. It's a single malt Scotch whiskey, but it's being designed for mixing. So typically with a single malt, you would drink it neat or on the rocks. There are some classic cocktails with single malts like Rusty Nails, but even that you would probably use a blend most of the time rather than a single malt. And that just has to do with the fact that single malts tend to be more expensive and it's just not typically done. So this whiskey comes with a little booklet, like a lot of other whiskeys do, except this one is titled Made for Mixing. And on the label here, it's titled Made for Mixing. So right away, this is a little bit odd, especially because Glenmorangie is one of the older distilleries that you wouldn't think of as coming out with a product like this necessarily. Now, that being said, they've always been pretty progressive with what they're doing, but this is still a little bit of a departure. So normally with a booklet like this, it would tell you about the whiskey, except in this, you just have cocktail recipes. There's no information about the whiskey at all, nothing about the grain used or the wood or the casks or the time spent in extra barrels or any of that like you would normally get. Instead, they just have recipes. The only information they tell you about the whiskey is that it is sweeter and richer to be a favorite mixer to create delicious drinks. So whatever that means, sweeter and richer than what? I don't know. I assume the Glenmorangie 10-year-old original is what they're comparing it to. Now, comparing it to that, this is bottled at 80 proof, which is already lower proof than the Glenmorangie 10-year-old. And it's priced the same. So right away, I was a little bit hesitant to pick this up just because once you go to 80 proof, most whiskeys get a little too thin, watery, and it's priced the same as the 10-year-old. So you don't get an age statement and you don't get as much alcohol in the glass, which typically is not a recipe for success. So, it's got a nice color, but Glenmorangie doesn't state natural color, so we really don't know anything about it, other than it is suspiciously dark for being a non-age statement $40 whiskey, which means it's probably younger than 10 years old, or they would have age stated it. And to me, that smacks of artificial coloring. However, going on their website, I was able to find out that Glenmorangie is finishing this whiskey in virgin American oak casks. So there is some fresh wood being used at the finishing process that may be imparting that extra depth of color. But again, we don't know that it's natural color. We have no reason to think that. So anyway, let's see how it smells. So the nose on this is a little weird. It's very sweet. It's a little more floral than the regular Glenmorangie, but there's definitely a lot of orange coming through on the nose. It's like vanilla, orange, a little bit of like sugar bread, like angel food cake, like that kind of smell. And then there's coconut there. And just some subtle spiciness from the wood. So overall, the nose is pretty pleasant, but it doesn't seem that harmonious. The orange and vanilla and coconut, they don't really seem to go together that well. But again, this wasn't made to be drunk neat. As it says on the label, this is made for mixing. So we're drinking it the wrong way, but I will be giving this to a bartender to have him create some cocktails with this. And I hope to do a video for you on that shortly. But in the meantime, I'm going to review it just as I would any other whiskey, which is neat. So let's see how it tastes. So right away, the flavor is actually pretty pleasant. There's a little bit of like a marshmallowy, like milk chocolate flavor mixed with the orange, like those chocolate covered oranges. But pretty quickly it turns into this like sickly sweet artificial flavor on the back end, and it really makes me kind of like it and hate it at the same time. So the first time I tried this, I was surprised. I liked it. And then the second time I had it, I was like, this is pretty bad. And now I've kind of realized it's because the flavors here are just, they don't really work too well together in this package on its own. So I'm going to go with Glenmorangie is right. This is made for mixing. I'm going to say I don't recommend that you purchase this to buy on its own if you plan to drink it neat without trying it first. Seriously. It's just a little bit of a weird whiskey. Now, that being said, probably the closest thing I could think of to this would be like the Auchentoshan and American Oak. Again, I would strongly recommend you try it before you buy it. I really don't think this is one that I can recommend at the price point when the 10-year-old original is at the same price or even a little bit lower, is age dated, higher ABV, a more harmonious flavor profile. It's still not an incredible whiskey by any means at $40, but for your money, I think the Glenmorangie 10 is where you should go instead of the X. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. And let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Glenmorangie X, whether you enjoyed it or not. And make sure you check out the Whiskey Uncut podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere where you get your podcasts. It's a show where James and I just kind of hang out, have fun, talk about whiskey. It's a little more relaxed, not exactly a straight up review segment, but it's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in getting samples of some of the whiskeys we taste on that show, head over to patreon.com/maltmondays and sign up for the virtual tasting tier. It's $35 a month and you'll get 3 2-ounce samples of whiskeys that we taste throughout the month on that show. So until next time, thanks for watching and cheers. I'm not going to drink more of it. I'm not.